Tashidele, and good evening, everyone, again. Welcome again. We're going to start right away with the Tapoka Gulinish prayer to save time. And also, we're going to use different melody today because I like that very much, but that takes very long time. So today, we're just going to do our usual, the traditional melody of Dohas. So please open your book. I think it's page number 1. Yes, it is page number 1. Are you ready? Okay. And then you know what, I have already told everything yesterday, so I don't need to repeat about having full of devotion and all these kind of good things during we're praying this. Okay. Dorje Jangjen de Loy Na Rodan Marbae Melai Shuji Gayam Boya Ba Tuzon Shija Gunkin Garaya Maba She Shunkin Yuban Nayam Ta Tedaya Sazon Doya Baso Sao Lai Sha Yai Sha Lai Ngai Nye Pe Nya Me Ro Mo Ya Da Bo Ya Gai Ye La So Yen De So Ya Gai Ye La Ya Ma Ya Nam Ju Ba Ya Zen No Ya Nam Da Rai Shin Ye Lo Shin Lo Ya Gom Ye Gam Ba Ra So Ya Ba Zenurangala Chagye Bada Sendrende Dahajuk Yelam Yegurai Shemba Mebra Sengelo Megoy Gomye Gore Soyambai Mengaye Dego Jebe La Mala Yondo Sawan Debe Gom Jela Jimmy Megoy Gore Sengelo Amen. Gom Yang Waja Soyang Bai Xin Gang Jia Do Ben Wo Ya Soya Ma De Ma Ju Ye De Gra Ju Ben Gom Jia La Gom Sa Lo Da Yan Zha Wa Ra Sin Ye Lo Nam Do Yang Wo Shu Gra Soyang Bai Xin Jaya Maya Jaya Shaya Wala Magaya Rolbara Shabe Hom Jela Korde Yerme Dobra Singelo Gyawaya Gondo Yandala Yama 这门学业，巴拉呀乱学经，萨达呀啷个呀在让做呢？多少些像阳光旁，有儿多学。We will do little meditation on the excellent beginning of Bodhicitta. Page number 4. Today we recite everything once to save time, not 3 times. All of them just one time. Page number 4. Sangye Shedan Sangye Shonam Shangye Bardayan Danen Yabsan Shen Daye Chen Soen Yebe Sonam Dola Bencher Sangye Drupara Sho Semjen Tamjen Dewat Del be yu dan dan bara yu je dung ha da dung ha yu dan da wara yu je dung ha me be de wa tam ba da men da wara yu ye re sha da ye dan da we da nyam shan bo la ne bara yu re je. Page number 9, the second last line. The concise version of seven brace prayer. Hoi chan sa wa dan shu jin sha ba je ze ye ran hoi zhen so wa yin je wa xiong sen da ye jie sa tam jian da yi zhang yu xian o ho. Page number 13 from the beginning, the concise version of mandala offering. Hoi sa shi bu ju xiong xian me do zhang zhe rab lin yin yi den yin ba Sangye xian de me de po wai du guan nam dai xing lan xie ba rai shu. Page number 16, requesting the teaching. Hoi sem jian nam ye sam ba da lo ye xie zha jie dao qi jian tong mon te bai xue jie guo lo guo ra do su. Buddham gacchami sharanam yavatta bodhimandritam Dharmam gacchami sharanam bodhisattvanganam tataha Namda sujam sa ye sa ye de tenze pa me rilin gu benze sharam ni de na wen shugos tubja dungon dola chan sa lo me don da se be me lama ne te be jangara da wo shen no karen zho zong ge long so che do ge we lung de xiong la sham sa lo ni me nian da be ma ka da so to sum ge we lung ge ng ba nam de sum me gyang wang ka ma ba or gen chen ne dor ji sham la do me ju tu ge sang ma du ge ne ni don do la la bu ran du ze wa dor ji shang wo shang gong xue ge xie ba ma de yuan zhi ben sham la do ning bo ten ge dan ba pe pe xie da wo xun no zhi ben go xian ba nga jian wang juan da we lang so sham la ma da wo sang bu sham la do ke ban da jian nam ge ge xie bo jiao wa gong ne ka den la ben gong la bu so se chen xie xu ge xie ngan de xu ge ni me da do yong da de sim jie tam ji ye yu sin ge la do so du jian hui ge xia dang ne xing da wo sa tam ji nam ka le jian xu ge da ge me xia ba da ba ra yo. Initially, I was planning to give you some concise introduction of all the lineage gurus, because that really inspires us. But I don't think there's enough time, so I'm just going to jump now. Okay, so we finished a little bit about Teloba yesterday, and then of course Teloba had so many great students, and among them, the one who holds the lineage is Naropa. Then it came to Tibet. From until Naropa is the Indian master, then Marba become the lineage holder from Naropa, and then Marba is the first Tibetan teacher in our lineage, and then Milarepa. Of course, Marba has so many countless wonderful students. Among them, the most well-known are called the four pillars, Kachin Shi in Tibetan, and Milarepa is one of them. And then our lineage came down specially from Milarepa. And then again, Milarepa has so many good, wonderful students, and among them is two, who are called sun-like and moon-like. And then sun-like is Gambopa or Tangpo Larche. Then Kamapa, the first Kamapa was one of his main students, and that's how our lineage began. Okay, so now I'm not going to read about that what Jamgu Kundu wrote because it's too much. I'm going to go to very end, and Jamgu Kundu says, he says, I am incapable of fully describing such details as their teaching lineages that have served the doctrine and beings. Naropa states, this lineage of teaching will extend further than reverse course. Marba foretold that for as long as the victor's doctrine exists, victor means Buddha again. In Tibetan, we say Gyalwa, or Sanskrit word is Jina. And then in English, they translate as victor. Victor's doctrine means the teaching of the Buddha, exists, this lineage of meditative experience and realization would continue without interruption. As stated, this lineage, which upholds the doctrine of realization through meditation practice, is specially exalted above all other schools. So that's what I'm going to say about it. Now, before I start teaching on Kamachame Rinpoche's commentary, I would like to speak a little bit about a sacred and unique way of teaching in the Kagyu Golden Rosary, our precious lineage. Well, generally speaking, we have a very special and unique way of giving Dharma teachings in our precious lineage and guiding fortunate students to the full realization of Mahamudra. That is through singing the Vajra song of realization, Doha in Sanskrit and Guru in Tibetan. This unique and precious tradition was initiated right from Mahasiddha Theolopa, the first human guru of the Kagyu Golden Rosary, which is our precious lineage. Over 1,000 years ago, on the banks of the river Ganges, the great Indian Mahasiddha Theolopa sang a song to his student, the Naropa. Song means kind of very common, but I would like to add the Bajra song. In Tibetan, we have different. Just song is Lu, and this kind of song is called Guru. So, but English we don't have different. So that's why I have to add something to make it special. Okay, so Vajra song of realization. Let's say like that. And this song condenses the entirety of the Mahamudra path, revealing how to recognize the nature of mind directly without reliance on conceptual elaborations. Naropa transmitted this sacred, precious teaching to Marpa Loza, who is the first Tibetan guru in our precious lineage. Marpa brought it to Tibet, where it was passed down through the Kagyu lineage, and it was carefully protected, preserved, and passed down from Marpa all the way to the present lineage holder, His Holiness the Seventh Gyalwang Karmapa, or Trinley Dorje. The Doha came to be known as Ganges Mahamudra. So, let me jump up. I have written too much. And this special tradition of leading fortunate students to the path of liberation and maturation through singing Bajra song has continued to the present time in our precious lineage, all the way from Mahasiddha Theolopa, the first human guru of our precious and sacred lineage. All gurus of the past in our lineage have sung many dohas. We have a collection of them, which we call in Tibetan Kagyu Gurso, which means the ocean of Kagyu Guru's dohas. And it is practiced annually in almost every Kagyu monastery on the parinirvana days of Marpa and Milarepa. But at KDT, we have Nyungne on those days every year. So we are performing or practicing this Kagyu Gurso on Khenpo's parinirvana day. We just did actually. Khenpo's parinirvana day was on the 15th of the 6th month in Tibetan calendar. And Jesu Milarepa is one of the most well-known guru in our lineage who taught and guided students through dohas. One of the gurus in our lineage who put a lot of emphasis on this unique and sacred tradition in my lifetime was Khenchen Sutum Gyamso Rinpoche. I think many of you know him. And I have many gurus, starting from someone called Ake Darba. Ake Darba. Ake means our language. Yeah? And then my first teacher of writing and reading Tibetan. I started learning reading and writing Tibetan at the age of 9 in my native village called Manang, where the Hunter Reba, you know Hunter Reba, one of the most famous students of Milarepa. When Milarepa is depicted, he is also depicted together. There's one man holding a bow. He was from my village. He was my uncle, actually. I'm just kidding. He was from my village, yes. Where the cave was still there, and the Milarepa song says, the bow, right?
B-O-W, bow. Bow. How to pronounce bow? Bow and arrow and bow. Bow. But when you do this, you say bow, right? Same spelling, right? See, this is confusing. Okay, so bow, here's a bow. Okay, bow. Okay. So bow is still there, actually. And then even the book says still there. Then if you go there in the future, you can still see the bow is still there on the rock that was offered by this 100 Reba. So that's where Lama Wangdu and we are from. Anyway, I started my study from there. So at the suggestion of my mom, who is called Pema Minghu, I started learning, reading, and writing Tibetan from Aki Darbar, who was a bhikshu and a kind of lab retreatant. He was lab retreatant. And then out of my many gurus, I have 5 main gurus, one of which is Khenchen Sudum Gyamsa Rinpoche. And then she said the benefit of singing Vajra song of realization, dohas, as following. Now this is correction from him. Okay, this is from Sudum. And then I thought this is very auspicious. Today I got a very auspicious gift. What is his name? Eric. Yeah, Eric, but you all know, right? Lama Katie just brought and Eric Omber says, this flower has been blessed by Khenpo Rinpoche, Khenpo Sudum Gyamsa Rinpoche. So I was actually going to start singing his song yesterday. We didn't have enough time, so maybe waiting for this flower. So it's a very auspicious connection. It makes me very happy. So anyway, Khenpo Rinpoche said, when I say Khenpo Rinpoche here, that's Khenpo Sudum Gyamsa Rinpoche. He said, singing dohas is a very good way to rest. It is a very good way to take a break from meditation, to take a break from working, to take a break from listening to the Dharma teachings. When I said too much boring thing, then you sing a song. Okay, and then and from explaining the Dharma. To sing a song is a very good way to rest, especially when you feel I am really tired. When your head is, this is the word I was asking Lama yesterday. When your head is nodding off, nodding, right? Nodding off. Okay, pronunciation, okay, nodding off. And that is when it is most important to sing. So if you don't nod off and are observed by sitting up straight, by making your mind very clear and sharp, and by singing a song, then you will rest on the inside. And singing is good rest when you get sick too. When you get sick and then sing, it makes you feel better. And when you are dying, it is especially good to sing because then you will recognize the deathless expense of reality. This is what Gyalwa Gosangpa is one of the most very well-known guru in Drupaka Gyulinesh. Khenpo Rinpoche said, this is what Gyalwa Gosangpa, who lived from 1189 to 1258 and spread the Drukpa Kagyu tradition in West Tibet, did right before he passed into Nirvana. He was surrounded by students who were crying while he was laying on his deathbed. He opened his eyes, sang a song, laughed, and then passed away into Parinirvana. So, if you can go like that, it would be great. Once the king of translator, Marpa, was very sick, and his teacher, Mahapandit Naropa, sent him something like a get well card, except this was in the form of a Vajra song on the 6 dharmas. Normally, you might send flowers or something like that to somebody who is sick to make him or her feel better, but not in the Dharma. In the Dharma, you want to give someone something that helps them increase their realization. So that's what Naropa did for Marpa by singing a Dharma song. And Marpa got very good teaching out of it. So he was extremely happy to receive such an excellent get-well present. When we are miserable, we have to sing. When we feel horrible, we have to sing. This was also demonstrated, right? Pronunciation, okay? demonstrated in the story of Marpa, who had 7 sons. Yesterday I told a little bit about it already. If you count them, his sacred concern and himself, then there were 9 members in his family, and there are 9 man deities in the mandala of Hevajara. So this is one reason why Marpa was recognized to be an emanation of Hevajara. What happened was that from among Marpa's 7 sons, Dharmadode was the one who had the most qualities, who had the greatest faith, diligence, and knowledge. One day, Dharmadode went out riding his horse, was thrown off, and the horse stepped on his head, crushing it so that it broke into 8 parts. Dharmadode died. Marpa came, placed his son on his lap, and sang a Vajra song. He felt such intense sadness and grief. Therefore, when you feel sad, the best way to dispel our sorrow is to sing Vajra songs. In the world, the normal thing to do if somebody is suffering is to say to them, "Oh yes, it's so awful, and it is too bad that this is happening to you, poor you," and that kind of thing. But it doesn't really help very much. That way of consoling, right? Consoling somebody isn't of much help, much benefit. In fact, it just makes people feel sadder, more sad, because everybody hears about what happened. How does that help you get over sorrow and pain? It just makes you feel worse. So, in order to transcend sadness, to get beyond it, to dispel it, we should sing Vajra songs. That's Khenpo's way. Jetsun Milarepa also went through a hard time and was very sad. It happened when he returned home for the first time after having left his teacher Marpa. The first thing he saw was that his house was in ruins. Ruins, right? Ruins. Ruins. In Tibetan, they say his house resembled donkey's ear. Donkey's ear, donkey's ear. Pongbu Nawanda. If you have a pillar standing here and a beam left standing somewhere else with nothing in between, without anything left of the house except for things sticking up here and there, then it looks like donkey's ear. Milarepa entered the ruins of his house and found his mother's bones. He looked around for his sister, but she was gone, and he had no idea where she could be. Then he saw that the Dharma text, the sutra that his family owned and traditionally recited together, were eaten by mice, and what was left of the pages served as their next. So the texts were completely ruined. There is the tradition of having someone come to one's house to read the sutra, and the person who used to read in Milarepa's home had left because there was no work for him now. That the house was destroyed and nobody was around. He became an ordinary servant in someone else's house. All of this made Milarepa very, very sad, but it gave him even more determination to practice the Dharma. So he sang a song entitled "The Solemn Commitment to Leading a Meaningful Life by Practicing Dharma." Then everything went very well. So this is what Khenpo said in general about the benefit of singing a Vajra song. And then particularly, he told me, when I was traveling with him, he told me to sing all his dohas in English and not in Tibetan. The reason why he told me to do this, he said, "You already know Tibetan very well. If you memorize my dohas in English and sing them again and again, then one day the English language will become like your own native language, and it will serve great benefit." I just said to him, "Okay, sir, yes, sir." You know, lasso. That's the way in Tibetan, lasso. At that time, and I didn't really pay a great attention to what he had said to me in that matter, because I didn't think that the English language would play such an important role in my life to serve the teaching in general and our precious lineage in particular. But now, when I look back to what he said to me at that time, I realized he had already foreseen my present job as a resident English translator of KDT, the great Dharma seat of His Holiness, the 17th Gyeong Karmapa in North America. I wish I had taken his advice more seriously from the very beginning, and I had paid more attention to learn English better, then I would have been already a very good English speaker. Anyway, at least now I'm putting more emphasis on what he had told me at that time, and I'm trying to sing Milarepa's dohas and his dohas in English. So I was thinking that we should be singing the dohas in English from time to time during our session too. Some of you might find it very interesting, and some of you might find it quite boring. Because singing the dohas in English is kind of a new way for most of you who have gathered here. But in order to be a good Vajrayana student, in order to carry on the precious Guru's advice, and in order to improve my English for the benefit of countless Tibetan speaking Dharma brother, sister, and friend, I'm trying to sing them in English as much as I can. So I'm going to lead singing some dohas in English from time to time during our session for this. Now we have only 2 evenings. Yesterday I wrote 3 evenings, but yesterday we didn't sing, right? So I have prepared this one, 2 dohas of Jetsun Milarepa and 2 dohas of Khenpo Chotum Gyamsum Rinpoche. We, you know Nalanda Bodhi, right? You know Nalanda Bodhi? Phala Rinpoche, Dzogchen Phala Rinpoche? You don't know? Nalanda Bodhi is one of the very well known. How come you don't know that? I'm just kidding. Very well known organization of Kamakaju in North America. And then the headquarters is located in Seattle, Washington. And then the head of that is called Dzogchen Phala Rinpoche. In Rumti, he is the highest Tulgu under 4 Yao Yapse. Like after the Gyasa Rinpoche, and his throne is there. So he is main student of Khenpo Surum Yamsu Rinpoche, and they now carry on this tradition, and they have whole book, which is called the book, song book. So out of them, I have only 4 here, just to be a good student of Rinpoche, because he told me to sing in English. So maybe we sing now 1 first, then we sing 2 today, and we sing tomorrow 2 today, 2 tomorrow. Okay? I will first sing so you know the melody, because it has a melody. All of this is a melody. Okay? You listen to me first, then we will sing together. And the meaning, I'm not going to explain anything because it's very profound. You can understand. If not, then also I'm not going to, just to get a blessing. Okay? So the first one is a song written by Milarepa. And the melody goes like that. At the feet of Maraba, the translator, I bow. From meditating here and there in natural retreat, I've gained confidence that there is no rising. This swept away my taking, past and future lapses too. Expose all 6 realms, appearances as fall, and cut right through believing all too much in birth and death. Hey, 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 hey. That's how we sing. And the rest is the same. So now we sing together, okay? You sing, all of you sing together with me. This is song from Milarepa, and we sing just one time, okay? Good thinking. Okay, please sing all together with me. At the feet of Marba, the translator, I bow. From meditating here and there in natural retreat, I've gained confidence that there is no rising. Dissolved away my taking, past and future lapses too. Expose all realms of appearances as false, and cut right through believing all too much in birth and death. Hey, 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 hey. I've gained confidence in everything as you call. Dissolved away my taking, happiness and griefs as too. Expose the ups and downs of feelings as false, and can't believing there are some to have and some to shun. Hey, 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 hey. In inseparability, I've gained confidence. Dissolved away samsara and nirvana sin as too. Expose the exercise of parts and levels as for, and cut right through believing all too much in hope and fear. Hey, 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 hey. Okay, we're done for now. This thing. Now I'm going to teach strictly from the commentary of Chame Rinpoche. As I said yesterday, I have translated in advance with help of some English, good English speaker. So it should be good English. Then also it's very clear. I'm just going to read, and if there is something I think it should be elaborated, then I will explain here and there. Okay. Okay. Now it says. 차자 첨보 복든 솔다 노르제 창두메 megrum shuso. This is the Tibetan traditional title, and then title says the visualization of the short Vajradhara supplication, an enhancement for the Mahamudra practice. Clear, right? This is the title of the commentary that was written by Chame Rinpoche on this supplication, what we call Tapak supplication or Mahamudra lineage supplication. And then he started, Namo Mahamudraya, which means homage to the Great Seal. I have received many kinds of instruction and oral transmission of Mahamudra, so I know how to practice it and how to sustain its abiding and moving nature. Since I have a great interest and longing for it, I have been practicing it regularly, but I have been practicing it merely so as not to forget the practice. And therefore, I don't have any enhanced realization of it. If I let it go on in this way for a long time, there is a great danger for me of becoming an intractable minded person who could give it up. Is that clear? You understand, right? But here I need to explain something. Here I say, please don't trust Chame Rinpoche, what he said. Okay? Because this is a very Tibetan way. If he doesn't have realization, then who would have? Right? So if you really trust him in this, what he said, then you might be discouraged. Oh, even Chame Rinpoche didn't have any realization. Oh, even though he had been practicing regularly, how could we have, Yeah. But this is a very Tibetan way, I should say very Buddhist way, putting oneself very low and say, I have nothing. Actually, he is giving us instruction indirectly. Indirectly, he says, you should practice it seriously. That's the instruction here he's giving us. Otherwise, you will not have any, even you practice it regularly, but if you don't practice it seriously, then you will have no realization. That's not easy. Then he said, then one day you will become someone whose mind become unwalkable or inwalkable. How do cannot walk, cannot shape? How to say inwalkable or unwalkable? Yeah. That's what he's saying here. So don't trust him when he said he has no realization. Of course he had. Otherwise, then who had if he didn't have, yeah, right? So here, my explanation is don't trust him. Okay? And take it as an advice to ourselves. What he said, take it as ourselves. Okay, then let's go. Therefore, the instruction of enhancement is important. You understand, right, what I meant, right? When I said don't trust him. Okay, then good. Okay, now he's explaining from here about this thing. He says, the primordial wisdom, Yeshe in Tibetan or Jhana in Sanskrit, called Mahamudra. He says Mahamudra, the Jhana Mahamudra. Mahamudra, he just said, Mahamudra is just a primordial wisdom. He says, is taught in all tantras of both the old and new traditions. So this, when you say old and new tradition, again, I think it needs little explanation here. In Tibetan, we know what he meant, but for those who are new, in Tibetan Buddhist history, there was the Buddhist was spread very greatly until there was a very bad king, and then that king destroyed all the Buddhism again. That was brought to Tibet by Guru Rinpoche. So before that, we call the old tradition. Then after that, we call the new tradition. So what Chairman was saying is Mahamudra is taught in both traditions. So if you ask who are the following of these two traditions now, then we have four traditions of Tibetan Buddhism, which are called Nyingma, Kagyu, Gelu, Saja. So only Nyingma is the old tradition, and the other three are all new tradition. Is that clear? Right. So Saja, Gilu, Kagyu, all are belong to the new tradition here. So anyway, Mahamudra is taught in both tradition. In any tantra that is taught in both tradition, the Mahamudra is taught. That's what Shaman is saying here. Is that clear? Okay. And then he says, this is the path which was followed. Means the Mahamudra practice. The Mahamudra practice is the path which was followed by all Siddhas of India and Tibet. It is well known as being unrivaled, right? Cannot be, compete, unrivaled, just like the sun and moon. And then now he's telling us how important to have the genuine, the uncontrived devotion. Let me say it here now. He says, Mahamudra, he didn't say Mahamudra, he just said it, but I want to make more clear. It, which means Mahamudra, cannot be understood through a great wisdom. Here, just great wisdom means the worldly wisdom. It cannot be realized even you know profound and the vast philosophies. And it cannot be understood even you are learned in the 5 sciences. So 5 sciences is, again, if I have time, I can go through one by one, but since we don't have time, in Tibetan Buddhism or Buddhism or in Tibetan, when you study, then we have something called five sciences, and then it includes all the field of study. And then one of them is called Nangdun Rigpa in Tibetan. As I was telling you the first day. Nangdun Rigpa means the science of inner reality or inner meaning, which is the teachings of Buddha. And then we have, mechanism, Zor Rigpa, Sema Rigpa is reasoning, logic, and then so forth. And then also we have Soa Rigpa. Soa Rigpa is medical science and so forth. So Chairman which says, even you are learned in all these sciences, still you cannot understand Mahamudra. So let's go back home now. Nothing to do. I'm just kidding. Okay. 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 Then it says, again, I'm still reading Chammaramchi, okay? It doesn't have, even you have a great interest in it. Now he says, then how can we understand Mahamudra? How can we realize? Then he says, the only method of realization for those who have not yet realized, and to enhance the realization for those who have realized it, and to stabilize the enhanced realization is through guru devotion and nothing else. It's clear, right? It's clear. So nothing to say anything. Okay. Secret mantra is known as the path of blessing. The way of receiving blessing is only through devotion. The only way of having devotion is through supplication. And devotion is known as the path of supplication. It's clear, okay? Very clear, right? No need more. The object of the supplication cannot be random. Is that clear? That means you don't get blessing to supplication to anyone, randomly. He's telling us to whom we should supplicate. He says the object of the supplication cannot be random. Just as the image of the mold, mold, right? The print with Sasa. We have any Sasa here, Ramala? They all know Sasa, right? They're not Sasa? Okay. So it says, Chairman which says, just as the image of the mold is printed on the Sasa, we need a guru who possesses the Mahamudra transmission. You have Sasa? Oh yeah. This is what we call Sasa. And this is kind of a small stupa, and this is printed. So Chairman Rinpoche is saying, whatever the mold, right? Mold, right? You call mold. Mold is whatever the mold, and it's printed on it, right? Just like that. If you want to have a Mahamudra realization, then you have to have a guru who has the Mahamudra realization. That's what this is example. And Sasa, nobody has translated yet in English. So I'm not translating. I was just Sasa. This is called Sasa, Tibetan word. Okay? So he says, thank you very much, Lamala. So just as the image of the mold is printed on the Sasa, we need a guru who possesses the Mahamudra transmission. Clear, right? Okay. As now he says, how we can find that guru then? He says, as long as we have received the Mahamudra instruction and oral transmission from a guru who holds the oral transmission, we can supplicate to the ultimate lineage gurus. I'm sure you understand the word, but you might not understand what it means. Did you understand what it means? It means, for example, let's say, we say Kal Yug in Sanskrit, Kal Yug, and which is again translated as a degenerate time, right? Which actually doesn't have the equivalent meaning of Kal Yug. But anyway, in this degenerate time, it is not really easy to find a qualified guru. It doesn't mean there is no qualified guru, but because of our own perception, our perception is very, very easy for us to find faults in the guru. Then once you find for guru, then your devotion becomes shaky, shaky. Once your devotion is shaking, then there's no blessing. That's the problem. That's why he says, then you can supplicate to the ultimate lineage gurus. Means, as long as you receive the transmission from a person who had the lineage, then if you don't fully feel, fully feel devoted to that person, you can take one of the lineage guru as your guru. That's what he meant. Because these our guru who are with us are in the human form. Even they are Buddha in reality, but they have to appear in human form because they have to guide human student. And that's why. And then if they are in human form, then they have to act in a human way, then we will find lots of, because only if we are the most fortunate person on the world, then no matter what guru does, your devotion will never be shaken. But we are not that fortunate yet. I mean, I myself, I don't know you guys. You guys could be better than me. When you see something according to your own way of thinking, when you see something wrong in guru, then you have a doubt or something like that. That's the reason what it says. Is okay. Let me read the line one more time again. As long as you have received the Mahamudra instruction and oral transmission from a guru who holds the oral transmission, you can supplicate to the ultimate lineage guru. That's what he said. Now Chairman Rinpoche is saying particular guru now. He says Gampopa, Tusum Khenpa, and Gyosangpa, three of these. Tusum Khenpa, the first Karmapa, right? And Gampopa is his guru. And then Gyosangpa, that Khenpo Surun Gyamso was talking about what he did when he was dying. He passed away by singing a song. This is the same person, important guru in Tupaka lineage. Now Chairman Rinpoche is telling us, it says, let me read clearly again. Gampopa, Tusum Khenpa, and Gyosangpa promised, or I can say took commitment that in the future they will bless you and you will have the experience and realization of Mahamudra. If you take them as your guru, yes, your root guru, and supplicate them after receiving Mahamudra instruction and oral transmission from a person who holds the lineage. Is that clear now? Okay, that's clear. So, I mean, if you find everything you want in your guru and your devotion is unshakable, you have 100% confidence in your guru, then you don't have to bother with the lineage guru, You just take your guru as your root guru, pray to him or her, then practice. If you have problem with this, your devotion, your confidence, then this is what Chairman Rinpoche is suggesting us. That's clear, right? Okay. Okay. Therefore, devotion is the head meditation. That's what Chairman Rinpoche said. Even though now Chairman is saying how special the Gambopa's lineage, Mahamudra lineage is. Now Chairman says, even though different schools speak differently according to their wishes, which means even though the different gurus, different school traditions speak or explain differently according to their view, their wishes, the Mahamudra, there is no confusion since Shakyamuni Buddha clearly prophesied Gambopa in three sutras, the White Lotus Sutra, the Samadhi Raja Sutra, and others, to be a great teacher who would teach Samadhi of emptiness, which is the Mahamudra practice. So, to make it easier, what Chairman was saying is, even there are so many different explanations from different scholar about Mahamudra, the Gambopa is a very special teacher because Chairman says Gambopa was prophesied by Buddha himself to be a teacher of Mahamudra lineage in many sutras. And then he give two names here. One is White Lotus Sutra, and what is Samadhi Raja Sutra. And then not only Gambopa, likewise Tusum Khenpa, who is the sixth Buddha. Sixth Buddha, you know what that means? Sixth Buddha. Again, I have to say a little bit here. I think most of you know, but some of you may not know. According to Buddhist, history, this is called Patara Kalpa, which means the fortunate eon. Again, I'm never satisfied with the word eon because it doesn't have a equivalent meaning of the kalpa, But anyway, that's the only word available in English. So this is called fortunate eon, and then Buddha Shakyamuni said, there will be 1,000 Buddha. 1,000, sometimes also say 1,002 Buddha. And so far, we have only fourth Buddha. Our fourth Buddha. And our Buddha is called the fourth Buddha, Shakyamuni. And the fifth Buddha is called the Maitreya Knight, who is in Tushita right now, acting as a regent of Shakyamuni Buddha there. He will be the next Buddha, which is fifth. And then sixth Buddha is called Lion's Roar. And then Karmapa Tusum Khenpa is emanation of that Buddha. That's why Chairman Rinpoche says Tusum Khenpa, who is the sixth. Okay, there is a TH, okay, sixth, to make sure, Buddha, the Lion's Roar, was also prophesied by both Shakyamuni Buddha and Audreyana. Audreyana is different name of Guru Rinpoche. In Tibetan, we just organ. So which means Guru Rinpoche and Shakyamuni Buddha both prophesied that Tusum Khenpa was a special person, a special guru. That's what he says. Okay. Now Chairman Rinpoche says again, even though many Indian Mahamudra texts had been translated into Tibetan, there were not many people who achieved siddhi. Siddhi means the accomplishment. It's Sanskrit word. But there were more siddhas. Siddhi and siddha, you know the difference, right? Siddhi is accomplishment, and siddha is the one who have achieved that accomplishment is called siddha. So, but there were more siddhas than the stars in the sky that came by relying on the Mahamudra of Gambopa's lineage. Therefore, the transmission of this tradition carries great power of blessing. Clear, right? Very clear, right? Okay. Marpa said to Milarepa in his prophecy that as long as the teachings of the Buddha remain, the lineage of experience and realization, which means the lineage of Mahamudra, will never discontinue. Therefore, the blessings of the lineage will never disappear. Therefore, don't be discouraged and be joyful. That's what he's saying. Now he's telling us the truth. Earlier, he was not telling us the truth. He said, I have no realization and so forth. That was not truth. Now he's telling us the truth. Okay, so he says, don't be discouraged and be joyful. Okay, as devotion is thought to be the head of meditation, visualize the following and do this supplication. Okay, as I said yesterday, we already started yesterday, this supplication can be taught under main three headings. And the first heading is the visualization of the field of the merit. And as I said, there are two different ways. In generally, there are two different ways of visualization, which we in Tibetan we say Tomsok and Tosek. Tomsok means gathering of a market or gathering crowd like a market. And then Tosek is arranged vertically, one above another. That's the general way. But here, Chairman Rinpoche is saying us to visualize in both ways. And then let me read what he says here. Now, this is his one word. He says, visualize oneself as a Idam deity or just an ordinary being. So, in order for us to be able to visualize ourselves as a Idam deity, we must have received the empowerment of that Idam deity. That's why Chairman Rinpoche is giving us another option. If you are not that kind of person who have received already Idam deity's empowerment, then it's okay, you just visualize as yourself. When he said, or just an ordinary being means as yourself. And then he says, in the space above oneself, about as high as a cubit. Cubit is this. This is a Tibetan way of measurement. We say like this long, a phantom, cubit, and palm length, like that. That's how we say. So when you say cubit again, I think he meant your own cubit, because different people have different size of the hand, So about your own cubit. So this high above that, you visualize there is a multicolor lotus. He didn't say how many petals. So could be 1,000 petals or just 8 petals also, I think. He did not mention the particular number of the petals. He just said there is a multicolor lotus. On the lotus, there is a seed of moon disc. And then I think most of you know what this symbolizes, but I'm not going to go through that because I'm just reading. We don't have time to go each by one. If I try to explain one, then I just got carried away by that, then we cannot finish. So let's just read it. And on the mountains sits the Guru from whom you have received kindness, who is inseparable with the Lord of Dharma, glorious Tusum Khenpo. So when he says, from Guru, whom you have received kindness, means from whom you receive the Mahamudra transmission. You have to visualize that Guru with inseparable with the Tusum Khenpo, the first Karmapa. Understand, right? It's clear, right? And then he says, Tusum Khenpo, he is light blue in color, white hair in the form of an aged bhikshu. You understand? Yeah. Usually, again, like I'm also bhikshu, I also have hair, right? So sometimes, if you always see like Chinese bhikshu or Theravada, they always cut every day, then they don't have hair, most of them. So you might think, how come he's a bhikshu and you say white hair, So even you are bhikshu, you can still have some hair, like that. I'm a bhikshu. So I think that's what Chairman Rinpoche meant. He says, Tusum Khenpo, visualize Tusum Khenpo as an aged old bhikshu with white hair. And then he wears a black crown with a golden top. Above the head of Tusum Khenpo sits the physician from Takpo. That is another name of Gampopa. Gampopa we say Takpo Larche in Tibetan. And that's how I translate it, physician from Takpo. who looks like an aged man, and his hair is white, and he wears Gampopa's hat. You know how Gampopa's hat, right? And above the head of Gampopa sits Milarepa, who is also light blue. He has flowing hair. Now Milarepa has very long hair, flowing hair, and he wears white cotton cloths. Above the head of Milarepa sits Marpa, who is dark red in color. He has dreadlocks and goatee. He's a goatee, but not like Kamapakshi, you know. Here, Tibetan way of saying is goatee. All you can have this oxum is oxum, you know. Kamapakshi is like that, you know, goatee, right? Little bit different, I think. Okay. Marpa wears an inner brown garment and a red cloak, right? C-L-O-A-K, cloak. Pronunciation, okay? Okay, cloak. Above the head of Marpa sits Naropa, who is dark brown in color. Above the head of Naropa sits Telopa, who is deep blue in color. Both Naropa and Telopa are in the form of siddhas, each with a top knot and bone ornaments. Above the head of Telopa sits the great Vajradhara, who is the color of deep blue. He holds a Vajra and bell at his heart center with his hand crossed. We have here, you know, that's easy. He is in the form of Sambhogakaya. In the area, now see, I was telling you that earlier, Champa Rinpoche said both way. So starting from Tusum Khenpa up to the Vajradhara, he says we should visualize, arrange vertically, one above another. And then now rest, he said visualize as a gathering at a market, which is we call Tromso. In the area surrounding Tusum Khenpa, visualize all the Kagyu Gurus who has mastered the luminous Mahamudra. Now I'm going to read just a name, because he has mentioned them, and I don't have time. We don't have time to mention who started which lineage. These are the guru of all these 12 lineages. Okay, so Chairman says, such as Hamadrupa, Dakpo Gomsul, Baramba, Kyopa, Hangba, Lingre, Gyare, Kemeshang, Choje, Yasangba, Yawa Gosangba, Yangyönba, Kajo Wangbo, Dubje Mase, Sangye Ombo, Mwamba Kachopa, Tselung Kunga Namgyal, and so on. Why he mentioned so many Lama name here is because the writer of the root words mentioned says like the lineage holder of the great, not great, all, four older lineages and the 12 younger lineages. So that's why Chairman mentioned all the important guru of these lineages. And then if we have enough time, I can tell you which guru started which lineage and how it spread so on. But since we don't have that, I just read and leave here. They are all seated with both hands in even placement. Meditation posture. Even placement is Tibetan word with nyamcha. Nyamcha is translated as even placement, which usually we just a meditation posture. With their eyes half open. They all wear meditation hat and 3 Dhamma robes. And then when you are done visualizing them, then it's a mentally invite the wisdom deities from the infinite Buddha fields and dissolve them into the visualized deities, which we usually call Samaya deities. Then when you are done this march, then he says, then you start doing the prayer. Dorje, Changje, Telo, Naroda. That's what he said. Okay? Okay. Let me explain a little bit here. You have the prayer, right? I think I have. Oh, I thought I have one. What happened? The Kagyu version. Oh, it's here. You all have this one, right? This one. So this visualization passes until here. We are done until here. But of course, when we supplicate, we have to start from the beginning again. Then one thing I want to mention here is because His Holiness also have mentioned. That's why I would like to mention that. Here it says in Tibetan, it's very clear. Lama Wangdu knows. I think Lama Keti also knows. Lama Tom also knows. It says, Cheshi Chungge Juba Zinam Dang. There's a Dang. But nobody put that Dang in the English translation. I don't know why. That Dang has a very important meaning actually. Dang means end. Dang is end. Cheshi Chungge Juba Zinam Dang means the whole lineage holder, the holder of the four older lineage and 8 younger lineages, and Dang is and Trikung, Taglung, Salba, Paldan, Tukba. That's how it is in Tibetan. So here, with the Dang, what it shows is some commentator, can I say commentator, also mentioned that, and also his Holiness mentioned in his book. Let me read where it is. Yeah, here. It says further. This is the book from His Holiness Saban Gyong Kamapa teaching on this prayer, and then he says further, the holders of the 4 elder and 8 younger lineages can also refer to the student of the first Karmapa, Tusum Khenpa. Did you hear clearly? So when you have Tang in Tibetan, Tang means then this Trigun Salpa is not included there yet. For example, what I'm trying to say here is when earlier when says Cheshi Chungki, the 4 older and 8 younger, actually meant the 4 older and 8 younger student of Tsusum himself. Then after that, then he's speaking again the other lineages. That's why he said Teta Sasopalda Tukpa Sok. Sok has included all the others. You understand? For example, give me an example. If that one is, for example, if I say all the KTCs and Columbus KTCs, it doesn't make sense, right? When you say all the KTCs, Columbus KTC is already included there. All the KTCs. If I say all the KTCs are affiliated with KTT, then I don't have to say again Columbus KTC. I don't have to say like that. That's why Tang, when you say Tang, is only talking about the Tusum Khenpa's student and the other lineages also, such as Trigungpa, Takwa, Kagyusa. That's what he meant. And then the reason why I'm telling you is if you take this prayer seriously as you practice, then you have to visualize the field of merit. Then you should not miss the lamas that is there. And then if you ask me who are there, then I will give you the name from the Tibetan commentary. Okay, let me see. Is that clear or is that confusing or what? Let me see. Commander, Dorji Changdum Draba, Dorji Changdum, Commander. Yeah, this one. So the okay, here you go. I got it. So when we say that, okay, when we say the lineage holder of 4 older and 8 younger, when we refer to Tusum Khenpa, then these are the people. Dongkong Rechen is the one who is our golden rosary. And then Sangwa Kongsen is another one. Rangjung Sangye, Changgangba. These 4 are the 4 older lineage holder of Tusum Khenpa. And Lobu Chungu Geni, Namkawe, Yishewe, Yendewe, Gendewe, Molomu, Surumu, Changjuwe, Sherabho. These are said to be the 8 younger lineage holder of Tusum Khenpa. Then the general way is, then I will say, Param Kagyu, Hatu Kagyu, Karma Kagyu, Salpa Kagyu. These are the 4 8 in general way, and the 4 older lineage, and And then the 8 younger lineage are Digung Kagyu, Tagong Kagyu, Chopu Kagyu, Dugba Kagyu, Marsan Kagyu, Yelban Kagyu, Yasan Kagyu, and Shuksep Kagyu. These are called the 8 younger Kagyu. Okay? Very clear, right? Okay, I don't want to confuse you more. But I thought it's important to say because His Holiness also mentioned. So I'm just trying to follow him and make it clear, you know? Okay. So now let me read continually the Shaman Vicha commentary. What is this? So according to Shaman Vicha, we have already done the object of our supplication, the field of merit. Now you need to do the supplication. Then when you do supplication, he says, when you supplicate, do so in the way of calling a guru from afar, with one pointed focus and strong faith and longing. That's very important, Sambhavi said. Since it is taught that we should supplicate like a barking dog. And it is all right if you don't know any good melodies. Just supplicate with whatever melody you know. That's what Simon says. When you supplicate to your guru with profound devotion, your body hairs may tremble, right? Tremble, and stand on end. Tears may roll down your face, and your thought may choke. My thought is not choke, but it's sore. Okay. Thought may choke with exultation and unable to utter a word. You could have blazing, okay, not blazing experiences and run around jumping and calling the guru. That is what we call devotion is the head of meditation. If you have this experience, then you had the correct devotion. If you didn't have yet that kind of experience, that means you didn't have the uncontrived devotion yet. Okay. Then now after at the conclusion, what we have meditated is what we call the stage of creation. Now at the end of your practice, you have to have what we call the stage of completion. Okay? So this is Shaman says, then you should imagine that all the gurus that have been visualized on your head melt into light, and then they dissolve into Tusum Khenpa, the primary guru. Right? Tusum Khenpa is in the form of Tusum Khenpa, but inseparable with your guru, your real guru, from whom you receive the transmission. Then Tusum Khenpa melts into light and dissolves into oneself. Is that clear? Okay. And then your body, speech, and mind mix with the body, speech, and mind of all the Kagyu gurus, just like pouring milk into water. That's clear, right? Okay. Good. Everyone is shaking. That means I don't have to say anything more. I can save time then. Okay, now, Chaman, which says, after you already mix your body, speech, mind with the Guru's body, speech, mind, then he says, then look at the nature of your mind. No matter what appears. Whatever appears, just let it appear and don't try to judge or modify it. Don't be distracted by it. Just sustain it without judging or modifying. Totally give up the hope for goodness and fears for bad. The experiences and realizations that have arisen by the power of devotion will not have any impediment or pitfalls. Even though you may have a few wild and scattered discursive thoughts, there's nothing to be worried about. just like there is nothing good or bad in water and its waves. The mind is primordial, naked dharmakaya. It cannot be made better, even though you may have experiences of abiding, bliss, and clarity. And it cannot be made worse, even though you may have experiences of agitation and wildness. It is good enough to just recognize and sustain it without being distracted. Look at the nature of whatever thoughts arise and let them be self-liberated. You just need to do that at the beginning, and usually it is sufficient for you to be mindful and watch it without distraction. That is what we call the non-distraction is the body of meditation. That's how Chairman Rinpoche explained these three things. You know, the food of meditation, head of meditation, and the body of meditation. This is how he explained. Now the next one. This life is impermanent, just like a butter lamp in the wind. Even though you have wealth and power, you will not have any power to take them with you, which means when you die. He didn't say that, but that's what he means. Even though you have many good friends and entourage and subjects, you will not have any power to take them with you. Therefore, you should cut off your attachment to them in your mind. You should give up attachment and clinging to them, even though you get great respect and honor, good wealth and food. You should dedicate and pray for the donors and benefactors to attain enlightenment. If the great respect and honor, good wealth, and food come to you spontaneously, naturally, and effortlessly, then you don't need to give them up. Use them towards virtuous deeds as much as possible and offer them to the mandala of one's own body. So when Shaman Rinpoche says one's mandala of one's body, you might not know what that means. Some of you, most of you know. So when in the Vajrayana tradition, it says that our body is the resident of 100 deities, which we call the 100 deities of peaceful and wrathful. So they are living in our body. They are, residing a different part of our body. So our body is kind of their home. So when you make offering with the visualization and just by eating yourself, eating also become a dharma practice. And that's what he's saying here. When you say, offer them to the mandala of one's mandala body. Okay. You should give up the, this word is hard to pronounce, austerity, right? Austerity, hardship, austerity, right? Austerity, yeah. Yeah, you should give up the austerity of not eating when you have food. By saying, I don't flatter others, you should give up treating others badly. Even though you are temporarily in harmonious connection with the minds of the worldly people, in reality, you should think that you would not be satisfied with the samsaric happiness and comforts that are available in the devas and human realms. And you should think about their shortcomings. Be afraid of the ocean of samsaric suffering and put as much as effort as effort as possible for going to Sukhavati. So Chairman Rinpoche is telling us to apply visa for Sukhavati with whatever way you can. From where you want, then if your visa to Sukhavati is approved, then you don't have to come back to samsara anymore. That's what he's saying here. Sukhavati, from where you won't need to come back to samsara. So if you think that way, then it says it will make you have revulsion, revulsion from the sixth realm, and that is what we call the revulsion is the food of meditation. So, I like to say a little bit more here, but maybe we can continue, no problem. Let me just finish this, and then I'm going to give you the devotion, the definition of revulsion from Kamapa. I will speak about that tomorrow. Let me finish this. We have only 3 minutes now. Okay. If you pray for a good human body with happiness and comfort in your next life, how could that be a revulsion? Do you understand what that means? If you say, may I be born as a human being, and then he said, you have no repulsion, you have no renunciation at all, because you are still attached to the samsaric pleasure. You are praying for a good life. So that's what he is saying. If the head, body, and feet of meditation, which are devotion, non-distraction, and revulsion, come together, then your wish, which is to realize Mahamudra, your wish will be accomplished. Your wish will not be accomplished even if just one of them missing. Which means if you don't have correct renunciation, or if you don't have correct devotion, or if you cannot meditate one-pointedly, then no matter how hard you try, you will never accomplish realizing the Mahamudra. You will never enhance your Mahamudra realization. That's what he said here. Your wish, here the wish is, realizing the Mahamudra. So he said, your wish will not be accomplished even if just one of them is missing. If you don't get enhancement, I actually don't get any enhancement in my meditation. So I must be missing one of them. What he says, if you don't get enhancement in your meditation, then that is the indication of missing any one of them. Which means even we try so hard to meditate on Mahamudra, if you don't get any realization, that means we are still attaching to samsara, maybe we are not totally free from attachment to samsara, or we don't have enough devotion, or maybe we are not doing enough one-pointed meditation. One of them is missing. That's what he said. Okay. The ultimate crucial and essential point of Mahamudra in the Thakpo Kagyu lineage is completed in this supplication. That's why yesterday I said I prefer to call it Thakpo Kagyu lineage prayer, because Tamil Rinpoche also says Thakpo Kagyu lineage is completed in this supplication. That's one reason. Okay, Jambal Zangpo is the name of the writer of this root text. The primary student of the sixth black hat holder, in Tibetan we say Shanan Zimba, which is Karmapa. So the writer of this text was a hard student of sixth Karmapa. He did strict retreat for 18 years in a cave, right? Cave, C-A-V-E, cave, at the mountain slope of Nyenchen Thangla. So Nyenchen Thangla is name of one of the Tibetan local deities. We have many local deities in Tibetan, and then among them, two of them are the most well-known, which are Mashe Pomra and Nyenchen Thangla. And Nyenchen Thangla is practiced, we practice every day in our Mahakala. So, I mean, if we have enough time, I have so many inspiring stories about this author also. But you don't have time. Let me say only one thing. How wonderful teaching he was. Nyenchen Thangla is a non-human local deity. But when the Penkan Jampal Sangpo was doing his Mahamudra practice at his mountain slope, all the provision that were required for his retreat was provided by these non-human local deities. So only by this word, how we can understand how great he was, that the writer of this. He was struck by not only human, but a non-human being also. So anyway, now I think it's done. This is the common supplication of Kagyupas. Therefore, it carries great power too. Okay, now this is important idea. Khenpo says, if you practice this supplication with a clear visualization, we have been doing this supplication for many years, right? But we never really practiced with the visualization. We just did as a supplication or opening chant and so forth. But what Chairman was saying here is, if you practice this supplication with a clear visualization that he taught earlier, there is no doubt that you will receive the enhancement of experience and realization of Mahamudra. So, okay. But it is extremely important to have intense devotion for this practice. With the motivation of helping the monks in general, it was taught by Raka Ashe. Raka Ashe is name of the Chamar Rinpoche in Sanskrit. So he said it was. I also maybe I could say like yeah, it was taught. It was taught by Raka Ashe. And then during a session, a great meditator called Pema Tharshin wrote it down. May it benefit others greatly, Sava Mangalam. So I'm done with the Shaman Rinpoche's commentary. 3 minutes past, sorry for that. And then I can do little more explanation of the root text tomorrow. Because I already told you that we can the root text can be taught in 3 sessions. So far, I have taught you only the first outline, second outline, and the third outline I will talk tomorrow a little bit. Then we talk a little bit about the Buddha nature, if in time left. Okay? Thank you. Let's do the long life prayer of His Holiness. Which one? Page? Page 25. Yes, 25. Are you there? Okay, 25. Om so de karma kan peza ya me she dakpa rang chun shu ki gyom cho so ki kun shen karma sang sum dor she kham so rab de ta ye til ro ba ba ra sho de shen so ki ko lo ta ro tu sum ge we de shen karma yab se gyu pra che ba si son kalpa kalpe par to shab ten so kan ki sab sang song ki sang wa 토상 주바 닝브레 셰바 보도로 베트남 탐진 예시 조다워 게게제 28 28 let's go to 28 라마 공감 상වර 소와데 초도 구세름브라 소와 틸레 다시 게브라 소와 라마 단라와 메브라 싱게로 31 소놈데이 탐제 색바 톰네 예베 라남 팜제 깨가 나시 말랍 촉바이 세베 소네 로안 로거레쇼 잠바가 빠워 지더레 켐바 고도 성보 대양 대신 대다 꾼긴 제선 달로 겨와 대다 탐제 랍도 모 상제 고소원 예베 세랍 춘이 민결 때베 세랍 겐데 메신 때베 세랍 Chidang Owa Malando Paraisho 29. Oh, Indushi Le Gyalabe Tele Karama Pate Tempe Jingbod Chota Kunchak Chapji Gumish Tagbaram Pelpebe Taishi Sho. Let's read this last song, Miladaba dedication song. I have no time to teach the melody. You just try to follow me, okay? Are you there? The second song on the right, this one. May we live long and be free of illness. Enjoy freedom, great resources, and happiness. Next life, may we meet in the pure realm. May we always practice Dharma and benefit beings. Okay, let's do a little meditation on the excellent conclusion of dedication. I don't see the stick. Okay, no gong. I don't see where that's okay. That's just a meditation. Okay, thank you. Good night.
So thank you very much for coming this evening, and we will see you tomorrow evening for the final evening of teaching. It is customary at the conclusion of a program that we'll have a kata offering where we offer the white scarf to Khenpo Sangye and thank him for his teaching. And if you wish to do that, we have katas in the back, and there are also envelopes in case you want to leave him a dana or offering gift. So thank you very much, and we'll see you again tomorrow evening.